never been in it for the money. In other words, Playboy isn't a business for me. It has been from the very beginning a labor of love. That's pretty easy to say because, because if you don't love all of this, then you're a fool.
There was a time when Playboy had its monopoly in the market. Its best-selling issue sold over 7 million copies, and in the early 2000s, Playboy's logo could be found on everything, from jewelry to tattoos, and bunnies were all over movie screens and reality TV. But what is up with Playboy in 2023? Well, Hugh Hefner's gone. The original Playboy Clubs have closed, and magazine sales have shrunk to less than 4% of what they used to be. So, what happened? That is exactly what we will find out in this video. In this video, we will discuss the rise and fall of Playboy. In 1953, former copywriter Hugh Hefner saw a demand for a gentleman's magazine, recruiting 45 investors who cobbled together $8,000. A young Hef was ready to launch what would become the most iconic magazine in the 2000s. This is the story of the once famous and rising magazine brand, Playboy.
I began in 1953. The dream was relatively small. I just wanted to do a magazine that I believed in and that would be successful enough so I could keep doing it.
Originally, Hefner wanted to call the magazine Stag Party, but was challenged by Stag Magazine. So a friend suggested the name Playboy, and it stuck. But Hefner himself came up with Playboy's new iconic logo. He thought a tuxedoed rabbit would be a cute, frisky, and sexy symbol. And his thought did work out well for the future of the brand.
Faster. Very good. Around the table. Move along, move along, move along.
With no office to work out of, Hef put the first issue of Playboy together in his apartment on the kitchen table. The cover and centerfold featured Marilyn Monroe, but Monroe never posed for Playboy. This is where Hefner's business brilliance started showing up. Hefner bought old photos of a struggling Monroe where she had posed under a pseudonym, having no idea they would eventually end up as a magazine feature. The star was never paid for her Playboy debut, and the first issue was released in December 1953. A huge success, the magazine sold out of all the 70,000 copies at 50 cents apiece. What happened next? Well, the profits were big, but so was Hefner's plan. Hefner immediately invested his profits back into Playboy, expanding his staff. Circulation grew quickly, partly because of the magazine's lack of competition. But not only was Playboy one of the first to publish colored photographs of nude women, its Playmate concept set it apart from the rest. What was a Playmate? Each issue featured a Playmate of the month, starting with Hefner's then-girlfriend and subscription department employee Charlene Carlos, aka Janet Pilgrim. Hefner described Playmates as women who could be the new secretary at your office, or the girl who sells you shirts and ties. In other words, a wholesome woman you could meet in real life, not a distant professional model. The photo layouts were a seduction, with the Playmate slowly revealing more and more until being fully nude in the centerfold. The 1950s were a golden era for Playboy. By the end of the 1950s, the magazine was selling 1 million copies a month. And while it was a popular joke to claim that one only bought Playboy for the articles, the magazine did establish a reputation for literary excellence, publishing in-depth interviews with all sorts of cultural icons and excerpts from esteemed writers like James Baldwin. Even when its first true competitor, Penthouse, launched, Playboy stayed on top, with print sales peaking at 7.1 million copies for the November 1972 issue. So, how much profit are we looking at? Well, a lot. Playboy made 12 million in profit that year. That's 73 million today. Playboy grew to be more than a magazine. It was a lifestyle. Hefner expanded Playboy enterprises to include the Playboy Clubs, designed to embody the glamorous and luxurious lifestyle marketed by the magazine. 50,000 members joined the original Playboy Club in Chicago in its first year.
Okay, once again, let's see the bunny dip done just so.
And soon, there were 23 Playboy Clubs around the world. And then came the fall. The 750,000 Playboy Club members and 60 million magazines sold yearly were not destined to last forever. Despite their early success, all the Playboy Clubs were closed down by 1986. They had been losing money for years. The changing social and political climate shifted public perception of the clubs. Rather than being daring, they were now seen as degrading to women. And the rise of the 1980s video porn was giving the print magazine competition. As magazines like Stuff and Maxim entered the market, circulation continued to decline through the 90s. Internet was also a factor. Playboy made the fatal mistake of not moving online fast enough. As internet boomed, online searches for Playboy would literally return ads for their competitors. Playboy tried to offset its losses by licensing out its trademarked logo. Billions of dollars worth of merchandise with the bunny logo was sold. Playboy merchandise did particularly well in Asia, especially China, despite laws prohibiting the magazine from being sold out there. But it wasn't enough. The high sales numbers only returned small licensing revenue for Playboy. Hefner tried to revive his empire with a venture into reality TV. In 2005, he signed up for an e-reality show that followed his life with his then 3 girlfriends, Holly Madison, Bridget Marcotte, and Kendra Wilkinson. The Girls Next Door aired in over 150 countries worldwide and ran for 6 seasons. It made Hef and Playboy a visible part of early 2000s pop culture. Despite its decline, Playboy helped launch successful careers for likes of Pamela Anderson and Anna Nicole Smith, while stars like Naomi Campbell and Madonna graced its cover. President Donald Trump is particularly proud of his Playboy feature, but by the time the company finally placed its full archives online, it was too late. So who runs Playboy now? In 2016, Hugh's son Cooper Hefner took over for his father as the magazine's chief creative officer. He brought full frontal nude images back to the magazine, which it had refrained from publishing in recent months. And he oversaw the first transgender woman featured as a Playboy centerfold. When Hefner passed away in 2017, Playboy seemed directionless, and investors had been losing money for decades. With circulation at an all-time low and reported losses of $7 million a year, the magazine was scaled back to release only quarterly. In September 2018, the Playboy Club in New York City reopened, complete with waitresses dressed as bunnies, and the magazine rebranding to appeal to a younger generation. However, the Hefner family is no longer affiliated with the magazine. It's instead controlled by the private equity firm Rizvi Towers, which now has a majority owner stake in the company. Not only is the magazine no longer controlled by the Hefner family, but the Playboy Mansion was sold in 2016 to Hostess brand owner Darren Metropolis for $100 million. As for the magazine, the 2019 summer issue featured not models or actresses, but instead 3 activists. Women also now play a significant role behind the camera. It's a clear contrast to Playboy's origin, when women had very less autonomy. A lot has changed since Hugh Hefner started Playboy, and it's unclear whether it'll survive after its constant fall from its golden era of selling millions of copies. But on the bright side, there's always the logo, and that's a $1 billion legacy. But do you know what is worth $1 billion to us? It's your love and support. So, can we cash out some of it? You know the drill. Like our videos, subscribe to our channel, comment down your views, and until we meet next, stay curious, stay awesome. Volt of Vokes signing off.